I'm Soundarya, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning at Marri Reddy Institute of Technology and Management. Welcome to today's video lecture. Today we want to cover introduction about the database management system. Okay, and this will be useful to your academic examination as well as real-time applications also. So let's begin our section. So these are the contents I'm covering in this lecture. So introduction about the databases and history of the databases and database system applications and what are the differences between the file system and database management system. And first one, data. Actually, what is data? Here, data is a collection of raw and unorganized facts that need to be processed. Can take any type of a data here. Can take video and pics, audio, files, any type of the files, either it may be the document, PDF, any other data. So that will be considered as a data. And what is information here? Information is very important. Information is nothing but this is also data, but in this particular data, it will be exact facts. It can be shared only the facts. Very useful data will be in this particular information. And now what is databases? So database is a collection of interrelated data. For example, I want to gather the information about vegetables. In this particular database, it should be having only the vegetables. So you can collect all vegetables in one database. If suppose I am creating another one that is a fruits, that is another database. Like this, in this particular database, whichever items or whichever data we are gathering, so that is the completely interrelated data. And next, what is DBMS? So DBMS is the database management system. It's a collection of interrelated data and the set of programs can access the data. Okay. The next one, the history of database system. So here, the actual database system is started the 1950s and early 1960s. In this particular database processing using the magnetic tapes and storage tapes for providing only sequential access punching cards for input. So look at this one. So this is a punch cards in before 1960s they are using for the employees. If employee is entering into the company, they have to carry these punch cards for their information storage purpose. And next, late 1960s and 1970s, the hard disk allows the direct access to the data networks and hierarchical data. The modules is widely spread, used at TEDCOD and defines the relational data model. Here, this is very important. The relational data model would be when the ACM Turning Award. For this work, IBM research began. The system or prototype UC Brackley begins the Ingres prototype high performance transaction processing. So look at here. This is a magnetic tapes before 1970s, how the data is stored. So by using of this magnetic tapes, we can gather the information and we can store the data information, and at the same time we can also data in the sequential format. And now coming to the 1980s, the research relational prototypes evolves into the commercial system. SQL begins industry standard for the parallel distribution database system and also the object-oriented database system. Look at this is an example for the how the hierarchical data model is stored in the databases and how network model stored in the database systems. Look at here, the same almost hierarchical data model and network data model both are equal, but the difference is in the hierarchical data model it is a one-to-one relationship and one-to-n relationship. The difference between the network and hierarchical model, here also the network model it is also one-to-one relationship, one-to-n relationship, at the same time one-to-many relationships also available in the network data model. So in 1980s, it came for the SQL in 1980s, by using of SQL also we can store the data. So in the SQL, we are writing some queries to create the relational model, that is the tables. We can discuss later. Relational models. Suppose, look at this example. In by using of query, we can create the table, and this particular table can select the customer ID and what is the sum of amount, and from the orders where the order between. Look at here, this is the condition we are providing here, and what is the customer city name, and where is the group by and order by. So this is the query. By using of this query, we can retrieve the data from the databases. Okay. And next, in the 1990s, large decision support and data mining application, large multiple terabyte data warehouses emerging of the web service, web commerce. So in the 2000s, XML and XQuery standard automated database administration, increasing using of highly parallel distribution, highly parallel database system, web scale distribution database storage system. So this is about the history of database systems. Look at this one. This is the relational data model in the DBMS. So relational data model is nothing but we are store the data in terms of the table. Here the table having the rows and columns. In the DBMS language, we are calling this rows as the tuples and column as the attributes, and also we can call it as the projections. Okay, and each table having some primary key. So by using of this primary key, we can also access the other table data also. And this is an example for object oriented database system. So this is make changes in the database. So this is the employee, this is the object. The employee is also having the employee name, that is S name, father name, and what is where he is working, that is a department name, what is his position, and industry type. By using of this one, we can also retrieve the data from the databases. And now welcome to the database system applications. So there are so many applications in the database system. Nowadays, everywhere we are using the database system. Not only in the small areas, we can also using big areas also this database system. For example, in the database application, these are the few applications are here. So earlier times, that is 1960s before, we are using this database in airlines reservation system. On that particular time, they want to collect the information about the customer. He is boarding the aeroplane. So they want to gather the information about the customer ID. So that is a customer name and customer address, customer gender, and his age, and contact number, that is a telephone number. On the time we are having only telephones, right? So that information will be stored for this security purpose. Later then it will be distributed to the several applications of the database system. So nowadays everybody knows about the railway system, how we are reservation our rails, and social media sites. So everywhere everyone are using their own social medias like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. So everywhere we are storing the data, and library management system. So this is useful in the universities and colleges and schools also. And e-commerce websites. For example, you can take Amazon, Flipkart. So goods selling and buying way, we are using this e-commerce website, and healthcare system also we are using this databases, and accounting and finance. This is very useful in the banking sector also. So there are so many transactions will be happening in the every bank day to day, and credit card exchanges and telecommunication. Sometimes some calls also we can record for the security purpose, and manufacturing production where we are using, and human resource and management, and broadcasting, security, education sector also we are using the database system, and banking. So these are the database systems application. So for this, in this we are using few examples elaborately. So the first one, I am taking enterprise information. So if suppose I am taking in the enterprise information, the sales are very important. See, in the that sales are depending on the quarterly. So that is 4 months, within the 4 months period. Otherwise a half yearly, sorry. So it is depending on the quarterly, that is a 4 months data, and half yearly, that is a 6 months data, and yearly, that is a 12 months of the data. So in this particular time, how many sales are appear, and how many customers are interested in the which product, and what is the purchases, there is how much profit and gain, the details will be stored in the here sales. And accounting here, where are the payments will be happen, and their receipts, account balance and assets will be stored in the accounting database system. And human resources, every company having their own human resources sector. So in this particular thing, they can maintain the record, employee record. So the particular employee having employee ID, employee name, employee age, address, that those type of the data will be stored in the human resources department. So the salaries and tax deduction, everything. And manufacturing, if suppose you can take any type of the product, manufacturing areas, they want to maintain the details about the products and production. So here, what is the product name of the product name, and what is his manufacture date as well as the expire date, they should mention on that details on the product, and the barcode, and where is it is inventory, and what are the orders it is having, is there any pre-orders we are having, we can take that orders also. And supply chain management, after production is completed, where we have to deliver that products to the next level. So that data also in stored in the manufacture databases. And online retails, so everybody nowadays using online shopping. So after buying any product in the online e-commerce sector, automatically will get the order tracking. So the customers knows where is their product, it will be destination state, or it will be started where it is now, and when it will be divided. We can also having the opportunity to change our delivery dates before or after also. And customer recommendation, after delivering the product, we can also give the feedback. So if the product is good or not, and what is the quality, based on the price, we can also give the information in our e-commerce sites. So that is also stored in the databases. So coming to the next one, banking and finance. So this is everybody knows, everybody are doing transaction every day. So it will be useful in all transaction, either it is a credit or debit. So credit transaction, generation of the monthly statement. So that is everyone knows. But coming to everyday with transaction, either it is a debit or it is a credit. If any account, if suppose my account, I want to transfer A account to B account amount, that is a 500. So automatically the consistency maintain the database from A account having 1000 rupees, for example, this 500 rupees will be debited in the A account, and B account before it is having 500 rupees. After transferring the 500 rupees, it will be added 500. The total is at 2000 rupees. So this type of the consistency maintained in the database system. Okay, the next one is a university. So every university having their own databases. They want to maintain the details about the students admissions, admissions of the students, and their date of birth, student names, student age, and student address. So they want to maintain all those details. So in the admission time, they want to take the information about the date of birth, age, S name, that is a student name, student address, and contact details. Either it is the phone number or email ID or any others. So this data should be stored in the university areas according to the student. At the same time, we are also having the faculty details and student results and registration times. Any online application data station also stored in the university databases. So next one is a online airlines reservation. So we already discussed about the airlines. In 1916 onwards, we are doing this online reservations. Sorry, offline reservation in before 1960s. After 2000, it will be converted to the online reservation. So we can also go for the online reservation. We have to give that information about the customer name, customer age, and customer contact number, and further details. That is where you are a starting point, where you are boarding from starting to ending point, and what is the price, everything will be checking by using of this databases. And this is also give the scheduling details also. And telecommunication, we can keep the records of the calls made and generating the bills also. So nowadays we are having the online reaches, that is also by using of the databases we can done. The next one is the differences between the file system versus DBMS. So before we discuss it about the DBMS is a database management system. By using of this DBMS, we can also store the data, retrieve the data, update the data, modify the data by using of the set of programs. So that is nothing but SQL queries. So coming to the file system and DBMS, we are having different types of the features here. So data storage. So both are having the data storages, but coming to the file system, we are having the separate file. But coming to the DBMS, it is a centralized database. In the centralized database only, we can store the data. And coming to the file system, we have separate file which should be stored. And data redundancy. So here redundancy is nothing but repetition of the data. In the file system, there is lot of repetition data will be happen. The same data will be repeated. So we don't know. So here the data redundancy is very high comparing to the DBMS. So DBMS, here the data is stored in the centralization. So we know the redundancy will be very less comparing to the file system. And consistency. In the file system, the consistency is very poor. But coming to the DBMS, the consistency is very high. And data access. So here in the file system, data access in the sequential model like A to B, B to C, C to D like this. But in the DBMS, we can direct access and flexible access. Suppose I want to go for A to directly X or Z also. So that is depending on the customer uses. And next one is security. So here the file system, the security is very less comparing to the DBMS. DBMS is very strong, high security, because the entire security can be held by the data administrator. And data sharing. So in the file system, data sharing is very difficult. In the DBMS, the file system is sharing is very easy. The multiple users can use the same data at a time also. And data integrity, there is no unforced data. But coming to the DBMS, this is enforced using the constraints. And backup recovery. So coming to the file system, this is only manual. We don't have any backup in the file system. And coming to the DBMS, we are having the automatic backup. And concurrency control. So in the concurrency control, file system is not supported. In the concurrency control, DBMS is supported. The multiple users can use the data at a time. And query support. So in the file system, we don't having any type of the query language. Coming to the DBMS, we are having the query language, that is a SQL will be supported. By using of this SQL, we can create the data, update the data, and modify, add the data. Okay, so these are the different types of queries we can also write. There are the different types of the languages, so DDL, DML, DQL, DCL. So by using of this one, we can enter the data into the database and also delete, update everything. And maintenance. So in the file system is very difficult to maintain. The DBMS, we are easily maintained. And example, we can take file system, the text file, Excel sheet, PDF, Word document, anything will be comes under the file system. And the DBMS, here we are taking as an example for query language, that is a MySQL, Oracle, Postgres, SQL. So these are the differences between the file system versus DBMS. So for this lecture, I am using these are the references for the topics. Thank you.